All right, good Thursday morning. Amy Jacobson here. John Anthony from Black and White Radio.
Hey.
Which can be heard right here on AM 560 on Saturdays.
Yeah.
From 4 to 7.
Right.
Are you dancing?
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking about, getting this toupee cut off my hair.
What do you
off
mean
my
toupee?
hair.
Got it.
I haven't had this much hair in I don't know how long.
Well,
Normally it's very low.
Right. Well, you keep it high and tight. But
It is
not
curly
anymore.
now, So
Well, I think it looks good.
I'm cutting.
Got
it
some
off.
gray hair. Do you have a barber that you go to?
Oh yeah. My boy Javi in First Class Barber in Crest Hill.
In Crest Hill?
Yeah, he
That's
takes
your
care
guy?
of me. Oh, I mean, he's been taking care of me for the last 6-7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know. My girl, guess how long I've been with her?
Hello.
1997.
Woo, that's a long time.
And she was at my wedding.
What?
And she's got my MVP, Most Valuable Partier Award, because we got there early and then stayed was up 24 hours.
So you bring into the boat cruise. That's what it sounds like to me.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. When is your boat cruise?
September 9th.
Oh, that's right. Saturday, September 9th.
Shout out to Free Spirit. What that means?
I can't go.
Oh, you bum.
But I went last year, and I had brought my sister, and a lot of you meet a lot of like-minded people, and it's really the best.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful tour of the city, and
right.
you're out on the lake, and it's
right.
just a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
it is Saturday. Are people signing up already?
No, we haven't.
Okay.
I'm gonna have a surprise guest there possibly
Oh,
this year. Won't say who. Can't say who
no,
yet.
No, you
Nope,
know.
I'm not saying who.
You know during the break.
Yeah.
I'm gonna press
I
you
know
against
you
the
are.
wall and ask.
I know you are.
Are you gonna tell me?
Yeah, I'll tell you during the break.
Oh, you're so
But not on air.
No, turn your mic off. You can tell me.
No. We're working through it right now.
Okay.
It's a good person. Somebody that I think people will want to hear.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I would go, but I have my nephew's wedding.
Oh, nice.
First person and my godson. He's getting married.
Oh, well, congratulations. Okay, that's a good excuse.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Normally I say no excuses, but that's a good excuse.
Okay, thank you. All right, it happened maybe while you were sleeping late last night. The first state to ban TikTok was Montana. But will it work? Let's get the latest on that and many more subject matters with our good friend Ed Morrissey, senior editor for hotair.com. Always busy, always in the know. So good morning, Ed. And can you explain this and how it would actually work?
Well, good morning, Amy. Good morning, John.
Hey,
Great
buddy.
to talk to you both. So who is that secret that secret guest that you're going to
Oh, see,
Ed, you weren't supposed to say anything. No.
We're off the air, right?
yeah, is this thing on? Is this on?
Ed wasn't supposed to say anything. No.
Well, is it Ed?
No.
Oh,
No.
Ed's more, you're invited. You're more than welcome, though, Ed.
Well, I appreciate that. Sounds like it's going to be a great time. So, but now I'm just eaten up with curiosity as to who the guest is. But onto TikTok. I'm pretty sure it's not TikTok. It's not a TikTok executive, right?
No.
Okay, so
They
there
banned me
or
too
an
much.
influencer, a TikTok.
They banned me too much, so.
So this TikTok ban in Montana, we've seen states ban TikTok on government devices, right? So, I mean, that's not new. We're seeing a number of states do that. I think Texas did it here, in fact, not too long ago. This is something different. This is a ban on anybody in Montana downloading or operating TikTok. And I suspect that this is a lot more performative than substantive because I'm not sure that this is going to survive even a little bit of scrutiny in the courts. I'm sure somebody's going to sue over this. The state of Montana is basically banning something that really relates to both interstate and international commerce. And it would be the same thing as saying, well, we're going to ban Facebook in Montana or we're going to ban Facebook in Texas. I don't think that that's a state-level decision. So I think that this is more of a performative political act than anything else. It'll generate some work for the attorneys, but I think this is not going to last very long.
Yeah, because, I mean, people have the TikTok app downloaded on their phone. I mean, what are you going to have, TikTok police out there?
Well, I guess what you could say is if this was allowed, what you would have to say is that the carriers, right, the smartphone carriers, would have to block its use from all of its Montana towers. But, I mean, TikTok also exists on the desktop, too. So, I mean, I don't know how you police that from the state of Montana. This is, I mean, certainly I think that TikTok is a Trojan horse for China's intelligence services, and I think that WeChat is, which is I think owned by the same company, ByteDance, is much worse. That is a full-blown, full-service online app that deals with banking, it deals with communications, and the Chinese government uses that, leverages that with their expats basically hew to Beijing's party line.
Wow.
And I actually think that WeChat is a much greater threat than TikTok is. But TikTok is definitely a Trojan horse. It's worth arguing about this, but this is something that has to be done at a federal level.
All right, let's move on to the Durham report. I'm sure you read it, all 306 pages of it. Will there be any indictments coming from this stinging document?
No. I mean, the reason why Durham issued the report is because he's finished, and he was the one who had the authority to do the indictments. The Department of Justice is not going to pick up where he left off.
Okay.
The whole point of having the special counsel is so that they can actually prosecute any crimes that they find themselves. So the fact that he's issued this report is an explicit statement that there is not going to be any more indictments coming. And I think that that's the frustrating part for this, is that there are people in here who didn't cooperate with the special counsel, who may have been able to drill down closer to some actual crimes being committed. But that aside, I mean, that's frustrating, because what you want to see are severe consequences for people who politicize law enforcement and who abuse their authority for partisan gain. And that's the Durham report is filled with this, right? From Barack Obama on down. Barack Obama was briefed on the fact that this whole thing about Russia collusion was a Clinton campaign strategy, and they went off and played along with it for political purposes. And that's corruption. That's an abuse of power. But there may not be a statute written closely enough to it to be able to prosecute for it. So Congress could create those statutes. They should look at this and say, well, this is an opportunity for us to create statutes to disincentivize this behavior in the future. But really the problem here is just integrity. You've got people in these high offices, both in the FBI, the Department of Justice, and the White House, who don't have integrity. And that's what the Durham report reveals. None of these people had any integrity at all. They had a political outcome in mind, and they used their offices to create that political outcome. And when that political outcome didn't take place in the 2016 election, when Donald Trump won that, they decided to try to derail the presidency any way they could, because they didn't like Donald Trump. And I mean, that's something that we should not tolerate, and we should have robust safeguards against. And apparently, we're going to need more robust safeguards than we already have. That's really what the Durham report tells us.
So let me get this straight. Hillary Clinton paid for this dossier, which was all a lie. There was no, golden showers. There was no Russian collusion. And she scrubs her servers, and she smashed her BlackBerries with hammers, and she's trying to portray Trump as the bad guy.
Yes. And the whole point of this, and the FBI knew this, was to distract from the scandal around her emails. The email server that she had at her house that was transmitting classified information, and that was not just illegal but undisclosed, and that several times when the State Department had been taken to court to try to get her emails, the State Department had misrepresented to courts that Hillary Clinton didn't have an email account when she was operating her email account out of her house. And there's question, and that was never prosecuted, right? There's all sorts of different misrepresentations in court about that, and nobody ever got prosecuted for that either. So, yes.
And Barack Obama and Vice President Biden at the time knew that the dossier was a lie, correct?
They were briefed on the fact that this was a Clinton campaign strategy, a tactic that they were doing, that this was coming from the Clinton campaign. The FBI knew this. The FBI knew very well that this was coming from the Clinton campaign.
Why didn't Trump fire Comey as soon as he got into office?
Well, I don't know how much Trump knew as soon as he got into office. It didn't take him long to fire Comey, don't forget. If I remember correctly, Comey was fired in, May of 2017. Yeah. So that was 4 months in office, and he fired Comey. So I don't know how much he knew about that, and I don't know how much he knew how far up in the FBI that this had gone. And I don't think he fired Comey for that. I think he found that out later. I think he fired Comey over other issues. Right.
And Trump was right about everything, about the spying, about this hoax of Russian collusion. And this is why, as I put on my MAGA Republican hat, because this has solidified my support.
There you go. This
has solidified my support of Donald Trump, because I got vilified because I said this. We all knew that this was what had happened. He was right. This weaponization of government. But here's what's something that I've been harping on for quite some time about this. How does this not fall under the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine? All of this information was fictitious. Now, everything that was gleaned or gained from this, the prosecution of even Michael Cohen, how does all of that not go away and gets wiped completely away? Because how they came up with this information, none of that should have happened.
Yeah, I don't know if that the Michael Cohen issue was related to that. Michael Cohen's issue was related to something entirely different. So I don't think that that's a fruit of the poisonous tree sort of issue. I think that Michael Flynn has a case there.
Oh, yeah.
Carter Page?
Carter Page, don't forget that they never actually convicted Carter Page of anything. He's suing the government over, I don't know where that lawsuit is at the moment. I know he was suing the government over the surveillance that was conducted against him. George Papadopoulos, maybe, who got prosecuted for a process crime, but if I remember correctly, did he get clemency at some point?
I think Trump pardoned him.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look that up. So, I mean, you could still go back, even with a pardon, you can still go back and ask to vacate a conviction.
Right.
But, and he might. I know that Papadopoulos was very unhappy about having to cut that deal and saying the whole time that it was, that he was being stiffed.
Yeah, I know. I had dinner with him in Miami.
I got to be careful about the word I choose here. Yeah, he got stiffed by.
Well, Trump granted him a full pardon.
Yeah,
he did.
Short, yes, he did.
I kind of thought that was the case, but I mean, he could go back and get that expunged, under that doctrine that you're talking about, which is that this was obviously cooked up by the FBI, and the whole thing is illegitimate. And he might after this Durham report came out. Although some of this was already known, a lot of this was already known from the Horowitz report. Horowitz didn't have subpoena power though, and so he could only go so far. But this is sort of an extension of what we found out from the Horowitz report.
But Ed, if as a former cop, if I did this to somebody, first of all, everything that the entire case would be thrown out, and not I just believe I do believe Horowitz talked about it, and Alan Dershowitz talked about it, the whole fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine. But whatever happened to due process? I mean, you look at what's happening that. You look at what's happening to January 6th. I saw the attorney was it Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congresswoman, who's looking to impeach Graves, the attorney that's been prosecuting all of the January 6th prosecutions. And when will we get beyond this January 6th? I hear there's another 1,000 more people they may indict.
I have no idea. I know that I think you have to get a change of administration before they finally put this to rest. This is first off, I think that the riot was a riot, right? So I mean, I think that there's crimes that were committed and
so do I.
And can be pursued. But I think that the reason why they're continuing to escalate this is because it's Joe Biden's reelection campaign. His whole reelection campaign is don't let January 6th happen again. Don't let the MAGAs back in because this is what's going to happen. I mean, this is Joe Biden. He's a demagogue. He's always been a demagogue. The same guy who said they're going to put you all back in chains when Mitt Romney was running for president.
Oh, I remember
You ain't black.
But and then at Howard University saying our biggest threat to our democracy is white supremacy.
Yeah, our biggest threat to democracy is what Durham just uncovered. Well, not just uncovered. Don't forget we knew most of this, right? The Durham report is forcing the media to cover it again, which they don't want to do. Exactly news. This is stuff that we've mostly known. There is some news in there, like for instance the fact that Obama was briefed on this, that the whole Clinton intelligence plan was ignored by the FBI, that there was a foreign donor issue with the Clinton campaign that the FBI simply refused to investigate. At the same time, when they're doing all this with Trump, Durham revealed that as well. So there are new things in here, but for the most part, the people who have been following this already knew most of this, and it's mostly what the national media has been trying to suppress.
Well, what about, something that's being suppressed is the Biden scoring $10 million or more while he was vice president from foreign influence peddling. What goods or services or legitimate products got exchanged for that kind of cash?
That's a great question, and nobody's been able to even suggest an answer to this. There was $10 million that they know of, that the House Oversight Committee has found through the what's it called, the suspicious activity reports that the Treasury Department was finally forced to turn over to them regarding the Bidens. And they filtered that money through 20 different limited liability corporations to get disbursements to Hunter Biden, Hallie Biden, Jim Biden, and other Bidens, right? And their partners in doing this. And their client list included a firm called CEFC, which was a known Chinese Communist Party front for intelligence. And in fact, in one of the emails that Hunter Biden sent, he refers to him as the spy boss. And I mean, so this is, this whole thing is really, really, really dirty. And the national media is covering it with a pillow until it stops moving. Basically, that's it. The New York Times headline was House Oversight Committee exonerates Biden. That's
that was the headline. Yep.
That was their headline.
Oh my God! All right, what are you working on for today? Since you produce such wonderful content over there at hotair.com.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, we've got a lot of stuff. We've got a great team over there too. So my team does a lot of the heavy lifting over there. There is a Washington Examiner wanted to take a look at fix the courts tax filings. And to say hilarity ensued is perhaps an understatement. I've got a write up on that. Gabe Kaminsky over at the Washington Examiner does some wonderful work there, and this is an actually hilarious story about the one of the people that's really behind this whole smeared Thomas and Kavanaugh and Gorsuch push. Gabe Roth, and what an absolute clown show that organization is. And I had a chance to sit down with Michelle Tafoya, and I'll have that podcast up a little later on this afternoon.
I saw the teaser for that.
Yes. All right. Ed Morrissey, senior editor for hotair.com, and your podcast is called?
The Ed Morrissey Show.
How apropos. I love it. All right, Ed Morrissey, have a great week, and thank you for joining us. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560.